Cool. Hi, I'm Kay from SurvivorK_art, and I'm here today with Ryan and Craig from Zinespiration, and we're going to chat about some zines. So thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for joining us, Kay.
Thanks for coming on the show.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, so let's get into it, huh? What have you recently been working on? Please tell us a little bit about that.
I don't have any like big projects at the moment. I feel like something, I guess, about my zines is they're all mini zines. So they're all like one pagers. You just fold into 8 slots. And it really has just been like a process for me, kind of working through all the shit that's happened in my life after I was sexually assaulted. And just other like thoughts I have on life, like anything random that comes to mind. So it's kind of more like a day by day thing. Like I have a thought or a feeling, I want to put it in a zine. And then somehow I had this idea, like, you know what? Maybe I'll put it online. And I really didn't think anybody would read it. And I mean, people read it, and here I am talking to you guys about it. So, yeah.
So for anyone who's never actually, seen your zines or your Instagram link will be down below. What are like some of the themes and topics about the zines that you make?
Yeah. So like the very first zine I ever made was how to support survivors. And it was kind of a fluke. A friend told me about a zine fair that was happening locally, and she told me like, hey, you should like join because I paint. I don't know if y'all can like see, like I have like paintings back there and stuff, but she was saying like you should do your artwork there. But I thought it would be weird to just go to a zine fair without having any zine. So I was like, you know what? I'll just make a zine for like the application. And this is what I made. And basically it was just like 6 steps of things that I feel like would be helpful, things that I needed that I didn't get, but just hopefully like break it down for people, because I think a lot of people do want to be helpful. They just have no idea where to start. But I also have zines about like I'm biracial, so my mom's from Manila, Philippines, and my dad is a white American. If we want to be real specific, his ancestors hailed from Ireland sometime in the 1800s, right? But, so I talk about like my experiences like being biracial and all of that. So I have quite a few on those, and just talking about like how my culture and how my identity being mixed just affects my experiences of like walking through this world. And I'm also studying to be a counselor. So I made this one, being a counselor in a time of pandemic. And like, so that's been my experiences being an MFT trainee, because I'm new at this.
Some important themes, and it's really cool that I think the medium of zines has given you a bit of an opportunity to be able to talk about that sort of stuff, and maybe give your thoughts, ideas, opinions, and help other people process that sort of stuff. That's fantastic. That's really cool.
Part of just this whole process has been really healing, in that like I'm writing my story, where it's not just like this thing happened to me, but I'm taking control of my life again, and like writing about these things happened, and whether like people, whatever kind of victim blaming bullshit they say at me and whatever, I am the author and master of my life, and this is how it went down. And it's been really cool, like posting them online, like anonymously and whatever, and like hearing other people's stories. And it's so sad it happens to so many people, and I've met a lot of people, whether like online or in person, who have never told a soul about what happened to them, and like I was that like one person that they told, and that's like really humbling. I hate that it happens to so many people. It's awful, but it does feel really good to connect with other people, and at least like, if anything, I can just let them know, like, you're not the only person dealing with this shit. Like, other people are dealing with it too, and it sucks. So.
And do you have currently, or maybe when you first got into a bit of like a zine inspiration, or somebody that you've found recently, like, wow, this is really cool stuff? Or
honestly, I didn't. I can't think of anybody. I mean, I guess like recently some zines that I got that were really cool Flashbulb Zines. Wow, her work is great. I definitely recommend looking into her stuff. But like when I first started, I didn't really have a template or anything that I was trying to follow or any kind of art style I was trying to follow. I was just like fucking around and just like found different things that worked, and I definitely think that it's like fluctuated as I've gone through this process. Some days I have more energy than others. Some days I'm like, yes, I'm gonna like make this like really aesthetically pleasing, and other days I'm like, you know what, I ain't got that energy. We're just gonna have some pen and some ink and there's no color, and that's just what it's gonna be.
You seem very like productive. Anyway, how many zines would you say you've made this year?
Oh my god, there's so many. I mean, I know like I've posted like probably around like 40, but like I have a bunch like just sitting on my bedside table that I haven't finished. And I don't know, it's kind of an addiction, you know, when you start, like I just have like so many ideas and I'm just like, oh, I want to do this, oh, I want to do that. And that's been like really cool, but really weird for me. Like it's been awesome finding other people who like care about reading this or like look forward to reading stuff I put out. I'm like, what is this? You know, but it's been very validating. Just yeah, in my experience of like having my family and different people tell me like, don't talk about this. And then finding out that like I can talk about it and make it into art, and it's something that people like enjoy reading, even if it's heavy stuff, even if it's like negative stuff, whatever. So that's been like really empowering. My Instagram has become this like little separate community. Like there's some people that I know in real life on Instagram, but very few of them are. It's really been this like random community of people that I've made who all happen to know about like the worst thing that's happened in my life. You know, and yeah, but like it's really kind of weird because in some ways like I'm sharing really personal stuff with complete strangers, you know.
Mm.
But yeah, it's a totally separate thing than like people in my life, because most people in my life have like shut me down. They're like, no, you can't talk about that, like it's too negative, it's too nasty, it's too bad, I don't want to hear about your pain. And so, you know, making art and putting out online, and like honestly the only people who are gonna like look for it are probably people who have some kind of personal connection, it's happened to them or something like that. Like 80% of my followers are women, you know, who have been assaulted probably. It's
Mm.
been a good way to like develop my voice and my art because I'm catering to an audience that cares about it. So
What's sort of the future of your zines? How do you feel that you're going to, you'd like to be doing in maybe 6 months? Bigger zines, smaller zines, more printable zines? I don't know. How would you?
yeah, it's interesting because like I've kind of thought about that myself, I guess, because I've been making zines to deal with this event that happened to me. And yeah, I just passed the 1 year mark a couple weeks ago. So I was like, yay, I survived. Didn't kill myself. We good, you know? But yeah, I was kind of wondering like at what point, you know, does this event not hold as much salience for me? You know, what would I make scenes about, or like that sort of thing. And so, you know, I don't know if it's going to be more about like biracial identity or about being a counselor or just like my random thoughts on life, you know, or if it's just something where at some point I like feel like, you know what, I'm good, like I can put this to rest and I find some other art form.
With everything going on in the world today and less mainstream voices being heard more for all kinds of different issues going on, what sort of future do you think zines have in terms of being against mainstream media, maybe someday taking over mainstream media? Do you think it's a possibility?
I don't know. I feel like even if it did gain some kind of mainstream popularity, maybe I'm a bit cynical, but I feel like it would lose a bit of its like, you know what I'm saying? I don't know what that word is, but I feel like for things to gain mainstream popularity, it's gonna lose some of that like deepness and authenticity, and it's gonna be made palatable for the masses, and they're gonna cut corners and whatever.
Yeah.
But I think it will always
Credibility.
exist. Yeah, like the revolution, resistance always resists. People who want to create their own content and just have their own voice and be independent, those people are always going to be out there. So that's really exciting and cool. So I think people are always going to be creating and putting it out there. I almost don't want it to gain like mainstream like popularity, because I'd hate for it to become like a trend or a fad, and like, I don't know, the idea of it becoming kind of cheap, I guess, where people do it just to be cool, rather than it having like some actual meaning for them as an art form or way of expression.
I know what you mean. There, sort of like like I in the nineties, I was a skateboarder, and I was sort of grew up sort of always skateboarding, and then in the late '90s, it became really popular, and then now it's like you're not cool if you're not a skateboarder. Where it used to be like you get beat up if you're a skateboarder. Like when I was a kid, like my people would call me out at school and stuff like, oh, you're a skateboarder, you're a skate, and like that was like it's supposedly a derogative term. Now it's like completely opposite, and it's
Yeah.
almost the same. It's and I sort of don't want that to happen to zines as well. I'm really with you with that. Like
It's a point of mainstream accessibility, right? So like skateboarding is the example. Skateboarding, it's cool, it's counterculture, it's badass, and then it hits this point, and now Craig, you and I can send our kids off to skateboarding lessons to learn how to properly skateboard, and that's not cool at all. Maybe it should be like we should have these videos. It's like, do you want to be counterculture? Do you want to fuck the system and tell the man to go fuck himself? Send $29.95 to Craig and Ryan, and we'll teach you how to be against the man.
And for only $500, we will give you an online zine making course. How to make the one-page zine.
That really happened. There was someone who did that. Who did like, it's oh god, terrible.
I was like in London or something. So, and people were before COVID. People were like running zine making courses for like $150. Like it was ridiculous. Come to like our zine making thing for. It's like I don't know. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
So yeah, just for anybody who is considering making zines or has never heard of them before, I definitely encourage you to just try it. It's a lot of fun. The community is really rad. Like, especially during COVID, like I've always loved snail mail, but right now, like it's the one excitement in my day is like going to my mailbox to like seeing like what zines I got that day. Like that's been really great. Yeah, you never know until you try. Like I am just a person in the world who had something really bad happen to them, and I made art about it and put it online, and other people like to read it, and it still blows my mind that like happened, and I connected with all these other people who whether they have like similar experiences or not, it resonated with them somehow. So that's been really great. So if you're considering it, I just go for it and do it and have fun with it.
Well, thank you for joining us today, Kate, and sharing some of your thoughts and ideas and showing us some of your zines and your work. It's really good. All of your links will be down below, like I mentioned before.
All right.
And thank you, everybody, for watching today. Thank you very much.
All right. Bye. Thanks for having me.
We'll be right back after these messages.